Hi, everybody, and welcome to EduTALK. As you know, EduTALK is a weekly virtual talk show, and I am joined by the president of the Jamaica Teachers Association, Mr. Mark Malabver, and he is joining us from Jamaica. We're talking about the passage of Hurricane Melissa in Jamaica and the impact that it has caused the people of Jamaica. And we want to see how teachers are doing and schools and principals as well as the people who lead school initiative across the island and see the help that is necessary for schools. So Mr. Malabver, thank you so much for joining us on EduTalk for this segment of EduTalk. First, I want to say thank you, and I know this is very incredible difficult. It's a difficult time that we're going through in Jamaica. Can you paint a picture for us? What's the situation like now for our teachers and schools in the very hardest hit areas in Jamaica right now? And because you're on the ground. Wait, let's you can unmute.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. And thanks for having me. I think it's safe to say schools in the hardest hit areas have been totally devastated in some areas, decimated. Really, it's so when you get to Trelawney, and you go deeper into the island, for example, Hanover, Westmoreland, Saint Elizabeth, especially St. Elizabeth and the eastern side of Westmoreland.
Yeah.
It's just total devastation, really. Based on the reports that are coming out of there, St. Elizabeth, Westmoreland is literally ground zero right now.
Oh,
Because the eye of the storm, and it was a Category 5 storm
mm,
when it came onshore, hit the border between Saint Elizabeth and the eastern Westmoreland.
yeah.
It people are suffering. And I when I was driving yesterday, because yesterday I went to Falmouth and St. James to drop off some relief supplies and some tarpaulins to some teachers, and we went over from there into Manchester, and driving from Trelawney to Manchester, it used to be a very enjoyable drive. You're
Yeah.
driving through rural Jamaica, you're enjoying the scenery. Sometimes you stop and talk to people,
Mm-hmm.
and that drive was very treacherous. It was a very treacherous drive for us, because of the debris on the road. You are driving close to precipice. We at one point in time we drove we almost drove over a precipice, and the lead vehicle had to stop sharply, and I mean, Hurricane Melissa took out the road in its entirety.
Mm.
Yeah.
Oh,
Um.
to
We,
talk about the teachers, when you met some of
mm,
them who you couldn't
we,
get in
we,
touch with.
yeah, we met several teachers that we gave out care packages to.
Right.
Um. And but there were many teachers that we could not find.
Mm.
Yeah. And we took water with us, and they were very happy for the water, because water in these parts are now very scarce. Yeah.
Yes.
um so we made sure we gave them as many water as we could.
Mm-hmm.
We are going to go into St. Elizabeth tomorrow.
Okay.
We're going to touch base in St. Elizabeth tomorrow to see what is happening, and to take some supplies with us as well. We have a long list of teachers who have reached out to say, hey, we need some help down here.
Yeah.
It it is very sad.
Yeah.
Um,
What
It's
about,
very sad.
let me ask you, what about the teachers that you met or the ones that you're gonna reach out to or they call you? Do 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 you find that many of them lost not only the classrooms that they're in but also their homes?
Yes, they have lost their homes. They have their lives have been uprooted. Yeah. There are some teachers also that maybe their lives have not been uprooted, but their family's life have been uprooted.
Mm-hmm.
It is devastating. I have never seen my colleagues like this.
Mm-hmm.
The principals themselves, they feel overwhelmed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and what it is saying to me, from a leadership standpoint, there are clear gaps
Mm-hmm.
in leadership. Because that we have been exposed to different types of leadership approaches to leadership.
Mm-hmm.
Um, um, and we have immersed ourselves into those type of, whether it be transformational leadership, servant leadership, whatever it is. But and this is something that I found myself being very interested in, um, uh, coming out of COVID and starting to do a lot of research on it. Crisis leadership.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Um, there is a gap in leadership courses,
Mm-hmm.
exposes our leaders. And what I mean by leaders, I mean not only principals, our vice principals, our school leaders, but even in the Ministry of Education itself,
Mm-hmm.
there are gaps
Mm-hmm.
in our leadership and in our in how our educators have been exposed. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And we are not engaging in crisis leadership. We are
Yeah.
making it up as we go along. And it is right now there is a spot, I'm using the minister's word, between the JTA and the Ministry of Education
Mm-hmm.
about the approach, for example, that is being taken with the decision to go ahead and reopen school in the
Yeah,
immediate
that's
after
that's that's one of
of,
the thing.
of,
Let me say,
yeah.
that's one of the things I was concerned about because with the passage of a Category 5 hurricane and devastating impact, and we don't get a lot of news outside of Jamaica unless we talk to somebody, on the ground, because there's not a lot of coverage. I'm surprised that CNN brought on a few times within the past week since Melissa passed, that CNN brought on just a snippet of things that are happening in Jamaica. But I want to find out how the the people are coping, the schools are doing, and the leadership. But you touch on a point that I was going to get to. So let's talk about this now, and then we come back to the other stuff. Um, what is the collaboration like between the JTA and the Ministry of Education? Because the schools are in a situation now where I don't know if they are ready to be opened or people need
Mhm.
socio-emotional help, physical help like food, the physiological, the food and the security and home and so on, if schools are in the right setting to be open. So what's the collaboration between the JTA and the Ministry of Education to reopen schools?
Well, let me back up. I think it was unfortunate that the ministry decided to go ahead, to reopen schools without first seeking to consult with us. There is going
Mhm.
to be a meeting today, though, but this is after the fact. Yeah.
Right.
And this meeting came emerged out of a couple groups, including ourselves, indicating that, hey, we aren't comfortable
Mm-hmm.
with certain things. I think a lot of things could have been avoided if the ministry consulted with the key stakeholders, and that's what I mean by crisis leadership, because
Right.
the truth of the matter is, and maybe even those in the ministry may need some psychosocial support, but there are four components to crisis leadership: what you do before, what you do during, what you do immediately after, and then the recovery phase. And in the recovery phase, you look at lessons learned and all that sort of thing. Yeah,
Right.
we
Right.
are in the immediately after. We are not in recovery phase as yet.
So let me
And
ask
then,
you, yeah,
mhm.
is there an assessment that they have done in the Ministry of Education and then the JTA? You're still doing your assessment. Is there an
We are
assessment
still
done
doing our
by the
assessment.
ministry to say
I
that
am
reopening the schools?
I am not aware that they are. What they have said though is that it should in various regions. So, for
Mm,
example, those regions that have not been hit. So remember that our island is broken down into regions. Education. So what you find is region one is Kingston and St. Andrew. So they are saying, and region one is Kingston and St. Andrew, and region two is St. Mary, St. Thomas, and Portland. So
right.
they are saying those two regions coming back around to parts of St. Anne can be reopened. Then they jump across region four, which has to do with St. James, Westmoreland, Hanover. They said that no schools in those areas, as well as St. Elizabeth
Right.
uh, and Manchester.
What about
There
Trelawney?
no schools in Trelawney either.
Okay.
Uh, so I don't have the document in front of me, but they
Right.
are saying that there are some regions that ought not to open, and so that's where they are.
Mm-hmm.
Where we are is this: we are in the immediately after phase. We are what we ought to be doing at this point in time, notwithstanding the fact that yes, there are some areas that they're not significantly impacted.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and yes, there are some schools that have gotten back water and electricity.
Okay.
We're still in the immediately after phase,
Right.
and the schools are literally just buildings. The
Mm-hmm.
teachers are going to have to go into these buildings.
Yes.
What is the state of mind of these teachers? Because many teachers that are in these areas they have families
Mm-hmm.
that are in the worst affected area.
Yes.
What is their state of mind? Yeah. That they have not even gotten in contact with. What I am saying is that, hey, we are facing a crisis at
Mm-hmm.
this point in time. What we should be doing, and I'm not saying that schools that should not be open. What we
Right.
should be doing is to pull in our educators, pull in our school leaders, and have psychosocial support for them.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's and let us use what we should be doing is using this week to be very deliberate. Yeah, in
Mm-hmm.
terms of providing that psychosocial support and making it almost mandatory. And as much as the technology is there and the Zoom is there not everything, Dr. Dice, can be done on Zoom.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's true.
not everything, and the level of psychosocial support that we need and require at this time is not cannot be done in the virtual space. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it,
Mm-hmm.
it, it requires pulling in our principals. It requires sitting them down. It requires them venting
Mm-hmm.
about how they feel in the moment, because I'm in the groups with my principals, my colleagues, and I have never seen them speaking in the way that they are speaking. They feel a sense of despair and hopelessness, and they have
Mm-hmm.
always been resilient. So
Yes.
we must never confuse resilience with invincibility.
Yes. Yes.
And there is a difference, because you know we weathered COVID, and that was traumatic in and of itself.
Mm-hmm.
I am doing some research on COVID, and you're finding that the feelings of isolation took a toll. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Then you transition out of that teachers are dealing with their own trauma in their various schools, that sort of thing, whether it's a child died or a teacher died or, or even death in their own family, and they deal with that. And then they come out now and they deal with flash floods, and then they
Mm-hmm.
move over now and they deal with burial. And then here we are in Melissa. We've
Yeah.
just been going on and on and on. And after a while, it takes a toll
Yes.
on our psyche
Mm-hmm.
and even physically.
Yeah.
And I am seeing many teachers, they are just
Mm-hmm.
breaking down and crying, and
Mm-hmm.
they don't know what to do at this point in time. And I just going back, I think the ministry needs to just step back,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and have a little bit more empathy.
Yes.
And,
Yes.
and maybe from their standpoint, they just want, and I can't blame them, but I just think that they are not approaching it the way that they ought to approach it. And
Yeah.
that's my thinking.
What about, yes, yes. I appreciate you sharing it. What about the under your leadership, the JTA and the the leadership of JTA, what about the structure you have in place now, or you're putting in place for to support principals and teachers? How are
So
you dealing with that?
yeah, where we are now, we have put out a call for our members to, help us to supply kits.
Mm-hmm.
Um, So what valid at up to $5,000. We don't want much in it. So we want toiletries, for example, toothpaste, toothbrush, bath soap, wet wipes. We
Mm-hmm.
we are asking for non-perishable food items like canned stuff, rice flour, sugar, that sort of thing. We're asking for tarpaulin, whether it has been used or new. We are asking for flashlights, whatever it is, and water. So
Mm-hmm.
we're asking for those things, and what they should do is drop it off at the JTA headquarters. Once they have dropped it off at the JTA headquarters, the JTA will move these into the affected areas to provide it to the teachers. In addition to that, we are going to be having a meeting this Friday to just get some decisions made. Because of the structure of the organization, we have to go through um, the directors, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
So we're having a meeting with the central executive on Friday, to put a proposal to them and asking them to recommending that they sanction it so that we can roll out those plans going further into next week, sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
We are also looking to partner with the diaspora,
Yes.
um, and Education International, for example, CUT.
Mm-hmm.
They have reached out to us. We are going to have further dialogue later this week. So just ask what can they do at
Yeah.
this point in time. But long and short is we need all the help that we can get.
Do you have any
Um,
direct way that the diaspora can offer, like people in America and England,
yeah.
Jamaican
So,
background and
so,
so
so
on
yeah,
immediately?
man. So we are putting that in place now,
Okay.
because we never really have had that sort of platform. I mean, you can always transfer funds.
Right.
It is that but at the meeting on Friday we are going to have that discussion, and then we'll move from there. But we just need all the help that we can get for our teachers because they are in dire straits.
Yes, yes. So let me ask, as we are winding down, I don't want to keep up too
Mhm.
much of your time. What message would you like to send to the government and to the Jamaican people about supporting the teachers at this time?
Well, to the Jamaican people, I would just ask them to offer a word of encouragement. If they see a teacher in despair, make the donation. You can drop off these items at the JT headquarters in Kingston, at Caledonia Road in Manchester, and at Little Bay in Port Maria. The offices. To the government. I understand the challenges that they are facing, and I have a full appreciation of the challenges that they are facing, but they need to listen.
Yes,
Let me
yes.
put it,
Yeah.
it's the need to listen at this point in time. It is devastating, and I don't think they get it. I don't think they
Mm,
understand it. And let us pull together. Let us come together in a genuine way and work through this together. We all hands should be on deck.
yeah, yeah.
But when all hands are on deck, there should be nothing beneath the table. There
Mm-hmm.
should be upfront, frank, honest, genuine discussion
Yeah.
and collaboration on the way forward.
All right. Yeah, that's very true. Yeah.
Mhm,
So let me ask you about resilience. You mentioned resilience earlier. Um,
mhm.
if to close us off, talk about one story that you see that it's a moment of hope and our solidarity that reminds you of the strength of Jamaica's teachers.
One of the things that I found was this in the midst of the storm yesterday, in the
Mm-hmm.
midst of it all yesterday, there was we came across a teacher, and she was so concerned about her kids
Mm-hmm.
and what's going to happen to them, and she wants to go up to the school to see if she can clean out a space to accommodate the students, and we are there talking to her, um but her roof has blown off.
Mm-hmm.
Her roof has blown off. But in the midst of it all, she's thinking about the kids.
Mm-hmm.
If that's not love, if that's not passion for one's job, if that's not um, caring for others, even in the midst of your unfortunate situation, I don't know what is.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's really, really a time to come together.
Yes, it
Wow.
is.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mark Malava, the president of JTA, for being on EduTalk. Really appreciate you and thank you for your leadership and your commitment to the nation's teachers during this challenging time.
Thank you
Our
much.
our thoughts are with every teacher and student and family working to rebuild not just the classrooms but the community because we love Jamaica, as you know, and we will rebuild because
Yeah, we rise again.
we'll rise again. Yes.
We rise
Thank
again.
you so much.
Thank
Um,
you so much.
yeah, and I'll make sure that we'll get some assistance from the diaspora to see how best we can share the contact information and get some stuff into Jamaica to help the teachers.
Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you everybody. I hope
Mhm.
you learned something and give to Jamaica so that we can rebuild very quickly and looking at the lives that are there, especially our students and our teachers. If you want to reach out to us at edusolutionsintl@gmail.com, that's edusolutionsintl@gmail.com, or visit our website to see how you can give to Jamaica at edusolutionsintl.org, edusolutionsintl.org. Talk to you later. Have a great week, and we will see you next week. Bye.